Hello, nerdlings!
Hello.
So, this is our response video to Captain Algebra, who wanted to know what are our top 5 most expensive SNES games.
That's Super Nintendo for the people out there who don't know that.
Super Nintendo Chalmers.
Because some people don't know that.
That's
For
true.
the longest time I didn't. I always heard of NES, but then it didn't click.
You say SNES,
You say
and people
SNES.
think that you're like sneezing or something.
Yeah, so.
Anyway, I was not sure if we should do just loose, just box, a mix of both, or whatever.
You sound like Star-Lord. Something good, something bad.
Yeah, so
a bit of both.
figured I would do a bit of both, and we'll try to go quick. But I figured upon a recommendation in Captain Algebra's comment section that I would just go ahead and do our top 5 loose and our top 5 complete in box most expensive SNES games. So
We'll start with number 5.
let's get this started, and we'll start with the loose. Honestly, I kind of expected a little more out of this one. Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars.
And just to, before we go on, we are using the, pricecharter.com website to base our pricing.
So these prices are from pricecharting.com as of July 2018. So what do we have for this loose?
Loose for the Super Mario RPG is $40.67.
Oh, that's not very much. We're gonna have to do
know
better
what it
than
would
that.
be like in the box?
No, let's not even hear it.
Or brand new?
But no. But just in case for any reason someone doesn't know, Super Mario RPG, it was a very cool collaboration between Squaresoft and Nintendo to make a Mario-themed role-playing game.
Yeah.
And it's actually a lot of fun. The really cool thing is that they bring in elements from the Mario world into an RPG setting, because you have like the invisible blocks. There are invisible blocks hidden around the world, and it's a isometric pseudo 3D plane. But you have Yoshi, and you get to meet Yoshi's rival Boshi. You know he's bad because he's got sunglasses on.
Like with Wario and Waluigi,
Basically.
you just turn their letters upside down, so Yoshi, we give him a B and he's Boshi.
There's a sordid history behind the naming conventions between Wario and Waluigi. But we don't have time for that, so we gotta move on. So number 4, loose, is Breath of Fire 2. Now, this is a RPG series that I have been a long-time fan of, starting with the first one, actually, on Super Nintendo. 1 and 2 were on the SNES, 3 and 4 were on PS1, and then it kind of, to me, the series started to go downhill a little bit after that. But Breath of Fire 2, this was actually a game that I was after for a long time back in the day, because it was very hard to find. And as you can see, I've only ever been able to find it in the cartridge loose. So what do we have for this one?
This one is $50.50.
Ooh, 50-50. Still not bad for a single cartridge.
Yes.
And number 3, I saw this on a couple of lists already. We have Sunset Riders. And already Captain Algebra, and I can't remember if it was Mike Tindo or Nefarious West who had it on their list. They've already done a great job explaining, telling you a little bit about Sunset Riders. I liked how, I think someone described it as a cowboy Contra. I think that's hilarious, honestly.
Does it look like that from the front?
It looks intense.
It does look intense.
So how are we doing on Sunset
That
Riders?
one is $57.88.
So, you know, making little climbs, teeny tiny ones.
Teeny tiny strides.
Number 2 is Knights of the Round. And this is actually a game that I've had in my collection for a really long time. And as I went through all of our Super Nintendo games to get the proper prices for them to find out which ones to put in the video, this shocked me. I never would have thought that this was one of the more pricier ones.
In fact, I think, didn't you say it wasn't even in a protective thingy?
Yeah. How bad is that? I don't yet have protective cases for all of our Super NES cartridges. And yeah, this one was was not in a case.
It is now.
So once I found out it was one of the more pricier ones, I was like, get out of that case, F-Zero. Knights of the Round is going in there. So what do we have for this one?
$72.45.
That's a little better jump. Now, the thing is, though, you know, from these, we've got to do better than that.
We gotta.
All right. We got to do it. Got to bring out the big guns. That's going to be another RPG with Earthbound. So, as you can see, we just have the cartridge, but even the cartridge, it brings in a decent little penny. Just to look it up for suspense. And of course, most people don't need any explanation about Earthbound. The visuals alone, it's very bright, very colorful. It's kind of a modern fantasy setting where you're fighting things like evil taxi cabs and hippies. The new ones would have hipsters in it. I think there's like a drunken guy with like a martini glass or something. But obviously this was a game that it has a cult following, but it didn't do too well in the beginning because Nintendo wasn't very good at marketing it, apparently.
This one is going loose price $166.36.
Woo!
Yeah.
For a single cartridge, that's kind of nuts, though. Now, again, unfortunately, we only have the cartridge. It would be so nice to have the box. That box was a big box because it had something inside it. Do you know what it had inside of it?
I know what it had inside of it.
What did it have inside?
A coloring book.
It did not have a coloring book.
No, but it looks like a coloring book. It had a not RPG. It had a strategy guide inside of it. But doesn't it look like a coloring book?
Now, I'm not exactly sure what the strategy guide itself goes for. I did not think enough to look that one up. But I will tell you this $7.95 price tag on the front, I'm pretty sure I did not even pay that for this booklet. I'm pretty sure I got it cheaper than that because I found this at a flea market years and years ago.
Oh wait, no, that's manual. I was going to say, on here it says manual only is $100. But that's the manual.
That's just the manual.
So I thought we had it on here.
So we don't have the box, we don't have the manual, but we do have the cartridge and the strategy guide. So that's a start. But anyway, that's boring stuff, right?
That's not boring.
I mean, those are nothing. We're going to have to do better. So let's move on to the boxed games.
Yeah.
Top 5.
Top 5 boxes.
Most expensive
boxes in our Super Nintendo collection.
So coming in at number 5, which is actually perfect for the timing, we have Marvel Superheroes War of the Gems. Of course, a nice little brawler featuring a bunch of the Marvel superheroes. And the timing is great, obviously, because Infinity War just came out. I don't know if you can beat this game in a snap or not.
What?
Oh, I was holding for laughs. So how are we doing for a complete in-box War of the Gems?
$35.64.
Complete in box.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at loose price. I'm still on the loose price part. I was like, this isn't worth a whole lot. Why are you freaking out about this game? So sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, $115.10.
So
it's a little better. I was like, wow, we have some crap in box games.
That was kind of surprising, especially because I don't hear people talk about Marvel War of the Gems that often. And as she just demonstrated, complete. Would you say
$35 just for the cartridge.
So you throw in a box and a manual, and then boom, $115. Mm-hmm. And there's a couple of games like that it actually surprises me the jump that it makes just having the boxes. Number 4 is Imperium, and I believe that this is just a typical shoot 'em up game, but of course it was a lot of fun. And this is one that we actually got fairly recently. And the Super Nintendo wasn't as well known for shoot 'em ups as systems like the TurboGrafx 16 was, but it did have some good ones. Quick question: do you guys prefer like the vertical shooters where you're at the bottom of the screen, you know, shooting stuff that's coming from the top, or do you like the side-scrolling shooters where you're on one side and all the enemies are on the other, and it's just pew 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 pew, they all blow up?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't like shooters.
Well,
I always die.
Do you know what we're at with a complete in-box?
Complete in-box is 118.26.
So not too bad. Not too
bad
shabby.
at all.
Just a little bit of a jump for more of the gems. All right, so number 3 really surprised me. This is another game that I have had for years, and I had no inkling that it had any kind of actual value to it. So, comic book fans rejoice for Wildcats. And if you were a comic book fan in the 90s, you were probably very familiar with the artist Jim Lee, who was working on X-Men for a while, and then he went off with Wildstorm Comics, I believe, and he created or co-created Wildcats. So yeah, this is another brawlers, so get out there and fight with your, not mutant powers. I'm sorry, you can see the characters right there. They're total X-Men ripoffs.
Do they have feet?
Ooh, do they have feet? I'm not seeing any feet here.
No feet.
Does he suffer from the Liefeld drawing curse? But so now loose. This one's only what? $25 loose, but complete in box.
118.74.
So again, another big jump just because of the box. Stuff like that always surprises me.
Yep.
Even still.
Even now.
So number 2. This is a beloved favorite of mine.
It is. I would venture so far as to say his favorite game.
So Chrono Trigger, complete in box. And when I say complete in box, yes, cartridge, manual, both of the posters. Pretty sure it still even has the Nintendo Power ads in there. But yeah, totally one of my favorite games of all time. I'm definitely not going to waste any time talking about it, because I know that Captain Algebra had it in his collection. I saw it in another collection. You guys have already talked about it. Everyone knows about Chrono Trigger at this point. We all love it, and I mean,
I will just input in there though that he loves it so much that literally anything we find it on, we purchase it.
Like Super Famicom.
Super Famicom. We can't show you because it's an app on an iPhone, but when they released it on the iPhone, he got it on the iPhone.
The PS1 with Final Fantasy IV, and of course on the DS.
Yep.
Because it's like
that one was funny though, listening to him play the one on the DS, because they changed some
minor dialogue
and
changes.
He was mad.
PlayStation Network, I made a false cover for it, so it's on the shelf, so we can tell people, hey, we have this downloaded. Same goes for the Wii. Let's see, of course, have the soundtrack, the complete soundtrack, because the music's so beautiful and very well worn, well used.
Can you tell
the Chrono Trigger Player's Guide? I just wanted to show how much I absolutely love this game. And to top that off, the best part about it is, the very first time I saw this game in Nintendo Power, I thought it looked stupid and ridiculous. It was actually on a whim. One weekend I rented it and totally fell in love with it, and it became a lifelong obsession after that.
We never even told him how much it was.
Oh, that's right. So how much is Chrono Trigger complete in box?
Well, we all know how much it was loose. We've got it for $91.98 loose. I don't remember what they said it was when they checked it.
Prices change all the time.
Yeah, prices change all the time.
So complete
in box is $287.50.
I'm coming, Elizabeth. And I absolutely did not pay that price for any of these.
No, we never pay that much for anything.
All of these games were games that I've picked up throughout the years. Even Earthbound, I did not pay a premium price for it. But these are games that I have held on to since the 90s, when I started collecting video games. There was a time when I didn't have a whole lot of money, so I decided, look, I got to collect comic books or video games. Felt like everyone collect comics, so I'm going to do what no one does and collect video games. Now everyone collects video games.
But I collect comics now.
So enough rambling. Should we do the number one game?
Number one game.
So our number one most expensive complete in-box Super Nintendo video game is
Super Mega Force.
Space Mega Force.
Space Mega Force.
And this is another shooter. This always cracks me up because shooters often run for a lot of money.
Even the loose cartridge here is a pretty good amount.
So let's not mince numbers. Let's just jump right into the complete in box.
Complete in box is $317.64.
So, all right. The nice thing is, I mean, a lot of these are really fun games. Whenever it comes to brawlers, I mean, they're always great games, especially if they have co-op. The same with shooters. Shooters can be kind of hit or miss when they have co-op. But, you know, RPGs, I absolutely love my RPGs. She loves any game with a good story, so she's good.
Yeah.
And, you know, being able to have all of these in the collection and, you know, just kind of preserve them in their boxes because, I mean, they look really cool in the boxes, like the artwork and everything. You don't fully get that from just the art on the label.
No.
So,
especially now that they're starting to make these plastic covers to protect them even more.
Yeah, so there's no friction rubbing on the shelves, you know, putting them on, taking them off, you know, not getting faded as much, not getting crushed or anything like that. So that's really nice too.
Yeah.
We definitely need to get more.
Yes. It's a slow process. We got a lot of games. I don't know if you all watched the Game Room tour, but what are we over? Well over 2,000?
Something like that.
So,
if you guys are ever curious for a number, let us know.
Yeah. We can put it in a comment below or something.
But anyway, so there you go, Captain Algebra. There are our 5 most expensive Super Nintendo games, loose and complete in box. Just so we're totally covering our bases.
Yes.
And I believe now it is time to tag 2 more people to show us their complete or their top.
Whatever. Top
5.
Loose or complete or, you know,
so
mix of both.
I think one of those people is going to have to be a guy who has access to some pretty cool stuff because of his store. Anyway, Mr. Russ Lyman. I definitely want to see your top 5 most expensive Super Nintendo games. Cartridge only, complete in box, whatever you got.
Now, are we saying his private collection or his store?
I will let him decide. I'll let him choose that one. He can just pull stuff out of the store and say it's his and show us all. And the other person, I'm thinking NES Addict.
Yeah.
How about you show us your top 5 most expensive Super Nintendo games, all that and more. All right, guys. Well, this was a lot of fun. Finding out that some of these games that I never even gave a second thought were worth a little more than I initially thought, and putting them in plastic cases because of that. So thank you, Captain Algebra, for including us. And
yes, it was fun.
The rest of you nerdlings, let us know if you liked it. Leave some comments below. Subscribe, notification bell.
Don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and Twitter.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye, nerdlings. Paul said bye.
He did.